بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah, and may peace and blessings be upon His Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. Today, this is the fifth part of the class, which is first correct your Aqeedah, in which we discussed the Aqeedah from the beginning, and we are carrying on at the moment to talk about things which are linked to this kalima that we have discussed the meaning of it last week, last Ahad, and we said the meaning of La ilaha illallah. And now we're going to talk about the things which are from those things which La ilaha illallah necessitates. And we start with, as the title, you've seen it on the YouTube, Al-Wala'u wal-Baraa. These are very important issues. Al-Wala'u wal-Baraa. So just take the mobile of mine because it's giving noise now. Al-Wala'u wal-Baraa. Al-Wala'u wal-Baraa is a very important issue, and it is from the things that is closely linked to the La ilaha illallah. For the person, if he says La ilaha illallah, no God worthy of worship except for Allah alone, having no partner, truthfully from his heart, he has to dissociate himself from the disbelief and from those who are disbelievers, the ones who had disbelieved in the word, the kalima La ilaha illallah. And also at the same time, he has to have the love to the iman, to the faith, and also the love to those who are the holders of the iman, the ones who had said La ilaha illallah. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ, he who disbelieves in the taghut, we said anything worshipped beside Allah Azza wa Jal, وَيُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ, and he worshipped and believes in Allah, فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا. He had held himself onto the strongest knot. No way there is somebody will slip out of it. Wallahu sami'un alim. So we understand now that al-wala'u wal-bara, from the most important things which are linked to the kalimah la ilaha illallah. So your Islam will not be straight until you love to the people of iman and to the iman is established, and your hatred to the shirk and the people of shirk. So al-wala'u wal-bara is a proof of the completion and the perfection of the iman. As the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Man ahabba lillah wa abghada lillah wa mana'a lillah wa a'ta lillah faqad istakmala al-iman." He who has loves in the sake of Allah, hates for the sake of Allah, gives in the sake of Allah, prevents for the sake of Allah, then he had completed the iman. He completed and perfected the iman. And the wala wal bara, as I said, is from the strongest knots of the iman. أوثق عرى الإيمان, most strongest in iman. Prophet أوثق عرى الإيمان. الحب في الله, to love in the sake of Allah. قال والبغض في الله, and that is to hate in the sake of Allah. أوثق عرى الإيمان. الموالاة في الله, ولاء in Allah. والمعاداة في الله, to hate in the sake of Allah. والحب في الله والبغض في الله, from the strongest knots of iman. So al-wala'u wal-bara, it will make you straight away from those who are awliya, ar-Rahman and awliya al-Shaytan, how to distinguish between them. Because if we know what the meaning of wala and bara, we know we need to know as well who are the ones we need to love and the ones who we need to hate. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون الذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون. So the awliya of Allah, there is no grief, no sorrow upon them, and these are the ones who are awliya Allah, the ones who believe and always have fear. لهم البشرى في الحياة الدنيا, to the end of the verses. Allah ibn Abbas, he said, من أحب في الله, he who loves in the sake of Allah, وأبغض في الله, and he hates in the sake of Allah, ووالى في الله, that means he loves and in the sake of Allah, and he also have helpers and protectors in the sake of Allah, وعاد في الله, and also have the hatred and the dissociation of himself in the sake of Allah. Then Allah's wilayah will get him. He becomes a wali. And any person, he wants to find the sweetness of iman, then he has to have this wala, regardless of how much his prayers and how much he fasts, until he has this wala and bara. This is the saying of Abdullah ibn Abbas. So what is the meaning of al-wala? Al-wala, its definition means the love, the help, the closeness, the following. So when we say fulan, somebody who has wala with somebody else, that means he loves him, he wants to help him, he wants to follow him, he wants to get closer to him. So the believer's wala is always to Allah and His messengers and all the believers. And that is why their wala will be to the ones who said La ilaha illallah, and also implemented the conditions that we talked about of La ilaha illallah, of the acceptance and the submission and the love and all of that. And also they had acted upon it. And the proof for that in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Innama is verily waliyukumullahu wa rasuluh. Your wali is Allah and His Messenger. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَهُمْ راكعون. And also those who believe. Who are they? The ones who establish the prayer and give the zakah. وَهُمْ راكعون وَمَن يَتَوَلَّ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. And he who does take Allah and His Messenger as his helpers and His messenger and as his protectors. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. And also the ones who believe. فَإِنَّ حِزْبَ اللَّهِ هُمُ الْغَالِبُونَ. Then the Hizb of Allah, they are the ones who are the ghalibun, the ones who will prevail, the ones who will get the victory. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in His book, how is this wala between the Muslims will make the love and the affection. Let's have an example of those people who were in the first generations and the ones who had followed their steps and their path to the day of resurrection, from the Salafiyin, from the Salaf al-Salih. Now, in order for us to imitate them and be like them, in order to be on the day of resurrection gathered with them. So Allah Azza wa Jal, He had told us an example of that. Okay, in Surah Al-Hashr, Allah Azza wa Jal, He told us an example of those people and their characteristics. So Allah Azza wa Jal, He said, we start from verse number 8 and we go to the verse number 9 and verse number 10. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in verse number 8, لِلْفُقَرَاءِ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ الَّذِينَ أُخْرِجُوا مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ. For those who are fuqara, they are indigent, they are poor, the ones who migrated from Mecca to Medina, the one who's being expelled from their land, وأموالهم, and also from their property, يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا وينصرون الله ورسوله, and they are seeking the bounty of Allah, they're seeking the barakah of Allah, they're seeking the pleasure of Allah, and also prevailing Allah and His Messenger. أولئك هم الصادقون. Those are the ones who are truthful. What do they have? That means they are going to have a portion from the wool booty. So the ayat starts from before. للفقراء, that means from the wool booty. These fuqara, these immigrants who migrated from Mecca to Medina, okay, those are poor, they will be having a portion. Okay, even those who migrated from Abyssinia, Allah had given them, they didn't participate. Allah Messenger had given them a portion from that, because they've been driven out from their land, from their property. Why? Because they were seeking the bounty, seeking the pleasure of Allah, and prevailing and championing Allah's and Messengers' religion. أولئك هم الصادقون. Sadiqun, truthful in what? Truthful in their wala to Allah and His Messenger, to the believer. Taking Allah and His Messenger and the believers, their helpers, their protectors. So they left their lands, they left their properties. Why? For the love of Allah, for the sake of the wala of Allah. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also He said regarding those who had met them from the Ansar in Medina, verse number 9 in Surah Al-Hashr. قال والذين تبوأوا الدار والإيمان من قبلهم. Those who had resided in the dar, which is Medina, والإيمان, that means they got the iman, they got the faith as well. من قبلهم, before them. يحبون من هاجر إليهم ولا يجدون في صدورهم حاجة مما أوتوا. And that is, they love those who migrated towards them, from the immigrants, from the Quraysh, the immigrants, from the ones who came from Mecca, and also they don't have any jealousy in their chest regarding what they're being given as a portion from the wool booty. So whether it is little or not really, not that much, they will not have any jealousy towards even the wool booty is being given to the muhajirun who did not participate in the battle. Not only that, وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. And they give preference over themselves, even they are of need. They are of need, but they give preference over themselves to the muhajirun. And we talked about, if you remember, in the biography of the Prophet ﷺ, about that person who was a brother during the brotherhood the Prophet ﷺ made between the Ansar and the muhajirun. One person, he said to this Abdurrahman ibn Auf companion who is an immigrant. This is from the Ansar. He said to him, you know, I'm from the richest people in Medina, but I've got 2 wives. Half of my money is yours. SubhanAllah. Because the Prophet made brotherhood between him and them and that person, and there is no blood relationship between them. He said, half of my money is yours. And not only that, he said, I've got 2 wives. Look at one of them, see which one, look at both of them, see which one you like, and I will divorce her for you in order for you to marry. Why? Because he hasn't got money to marry, he hasn't got dowry. I'll help you. Just look at, SubhanAllah. Now, this is amazing, but it's more amazing from the reply of Abdurrahman ibn Auf. He didn't say to him, yeah, brother, give me half and let me just look at your wives. He said, Barakallahu laka fi malik. May Allah give you barakah in your property, in your money. And may Allah give you barakah into your ahl, your family. Just show me what's the market. So he showed him the market. He went to the market and he made transaction. From first day, mashallah, he mixed the sand into gold, this man. And he brought enough to buy some sort of gold and make it a dowry to get married to somebody else. SubhanAllah. These are the companions. That's why they conquered the heart before they conquered the land. So, وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ وَمَنْ يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And the one who saves himself from the shuh. Shuh here could be stinginess, could be as well, I would say, covetousness. That's the word. فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. The one who prevent that from himself, the other one who was successful. So, Al-Ansar, the inhabitants, had met and received the Muhajirin in Medina. Why? For the love of Allah. Walaa, Baraa. So they gave them their own houses for the sake of Allah. And the ones who came after them, after the Ansar and the Muhajirun, and they followed the same path of those. And they had also followed the same manhaj. They loved the ones before them. وَالَّذِينَ جَاءُوا مِن بَعْدِهِمْ. This is Surah Al-Hashr, verse number 10. والذين جاءوا من بعدهم يقولون ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. And the ones who came after them, they would say, O Lord, forgive for us and for our brothers, the ones who preceded us with Iman, and do not put in our hearts grudge or hatred. Don't put on our hearts grudge or hatred towards who believed. O Lord, for verily you are the oft merciful, the oft passionate, Ra'uf or Ra'if, Rahim, forbearing, and also Rahim, merciful. So those are the Ansar. And Muhajirun, the ones who left their land, they left their property. Why? For the sake that they're doing this for the sake of Allah, the love of Allah. And the Ansar, he met them for the sake of the love of Allah. And those who came after them as well, they making supplication to those who were before them, because for the sake of the love in Allah. So all of it for the sake of the love in Allah. So this is the wala between the believers. And this will, by this wala, make the brotherhood complete. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the believers, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Verily the believers are to be ikhwa, brothers. That means the believers can never be anything, because إِنَّمَا أَدَاتُ حَصْرٍ. That means it's restrict. Innama, that means the believers can no way be anything except to be brothers. Innama al-mu'minuna ikhwa. Then he said, فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ. Fix between your brothers. That means the brothers might have some sort of things between them, had happened between them. So what is my job? To fix in between them. Wallahi, fixing between the brothers, as the Prophet of Allah, he told some of the companions, is better than making jihad in the sake of Allah. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. The end of the verse. And fear Allah so that you have mercy. So al-ikhwa wal-ukhuwa, brotherhood between the brothers, can never be except by the true believers. So they are believers and brothers with their wala, with their love to the Allah, love to the religion of Allah, love to the messenger of Allah, love to the believers. With this wala, we will become truthful. We will become brothers. We will become like one building. And we need that at this time, that the wala is to be between us based upon Allah. المؤمن للمؤمن كالبنيان يشد بعضه بعضا. The believer to the believer, like the brick to the brick fortress. And he need to intertwine the Prophet between his fingers like this. It means it will be like this, forcing one another, enforcing one another, supporting one another. Okay? And when we become like this, we become like one body. Something aches, the whole body will react. As the Prophet said, مثل المؤمنين في تودهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم كمثل الجسد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر الجسد بالسهر والحمى. The believers in their love, in their mercy to one another, in their passion to one another, in their kindness to one another, just like one body. If one limb aches, the whole of the body limbs will come in what? They will come in support. How? By making the person sleepless and making the person as well having fever. You know that sleeplessness that you have and the fever that you have? Maybe it's because of a tooth is aching. That tooth, every single inch of your body reacts for that tooth, to help that tooth. So that makes you not to sleep in order to make sure that that tooth will not go into further, illness and all of that. All the body will be together. So if our wala between us is for Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send us upon us the rahmah, the mercy. وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. And the believers, male and females, they are protectors of one another. أولياء, helpers to one another. They love one another. يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. They enjoin good and they forbid evil. وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَيُطِيعُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. And also on top of that, they establish the prayer. They establish the zakah, they give the zakah. And also they obey Allah and His Messenger. Then Allah said, أُولَٰئِكَ سَيَرْحَمُهُمُ اللَّهُ. Those are the ones whom Allah will give the mercy. So if you have the wala and bara, Allah will give you the mercy. Inna Allah azizun hakim. This is the wala. Al-bara is the opposite, is the hatred, is the dissociation of somebody, going away from something. So when we say somebody had made bara from somebody, that means he started to hate him, started to have enmity with him, started to get away from him, dissociate himself from him. And al-bara is from the believer to every person who disbelieved in the kalima la ilaha illallah. So the bara is the opposite of al-wala. No Muslim should have wala to the kuffar, regardless whom they are and wherever they are, because we have to respond to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He had said to us. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا عدوي وعدوكم أولياء تلقون إليهم بالمودة. O you who believe, do not take, O you who believe, do not take my enemy and your enemy. My enemy is the kuffar, and your enemy from the disbelievers. أولياء, helpers, protectors, friends. تلقون إليهم بالمودة. You give them some affection and friendship and love. وقد كفروا بما جاءكم من الحق. And already they have disbelieved the truth that came onto you, that was revealed to you, that was being brought to you. يخرجون الرسول وإياكم أن تؤمنوا بالله ربكم. That what they've done, they have expelled the messenger of Allah and you yourselves, which is the Muslims in Mecca, expelled them because they believe in Allah who is your Lord. إن كنتم خرجتم جهادا في سبيلي وابتغاء مرضاتي. If you have came out just for the sake of making jihad in my sake, all of that, because of that they have got you out and expelled you. Because of you seeking my pleasure, they have hated you, and yet you are taking friendship from them. تسرون إليهم بالمودة. You are loving them in secret, having friendship with them in secret. وأنا أعلم بما أخفيتم وأعلمتم. And I know what you have concealed and what you have revealed. وما يفعله منكم فقد ضل سواء السبيل. And he who does this amongst you, then he had been misguided. So the person, regardless of how close is that person who had done to him the kufr, or how close is that person in relationship but yet he is not a believer in La ilaha illallah, we should have love towards him. لا تجد قومي يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر. You will not find people who believe in Allah and the last day. يُوَادُّونَ مَنْ حَدَّ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. They will give love and affection to the one who had opposed Allah and His Messenger. وَلَوْ كَانُوا آبَاءَهُمْ أَوْ أَبْنَاءَهُم أَوْ إِخْوَانَهُم أَوْ عَشِيرَتَهُم. Even if they to be their fathers or their sons or their brothers or their kindred. أُولَٰئِكَ كَتَبَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمُ الْإِيمَانِ. Those are the one whom Allah Azza wa Jal who had put in their hearts the Iman, وَأَيَّدَهُمْ بِرُوحٍ مِّنْهُ. And He gave them the help with the ruh of His. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given us an example in His book regarding those who had dissociated themselves from the one who disbelieved in La ilaha illallah, even they are next of kin. Ibrahim alayhi salam. And also the ones who believed along with Ibrahim alayhi salam, they have dissociated themselves. They made Baraa from their people. Even Ibrahim, he made Baraa from his father. Why? Because they disbelieved in La ilaha illallah. This is an example being set in the Quran for us to learn from it and to take a lesson from it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, قَدْ كَانَتْ لَكُمْ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ فِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ. There is a good example for you to follow in Ibrahim and those who are with him. إِذْ قَالُوا لِقَوْمِهِمْ. Behold, when they said to their people, إِنَّا بُرَآءُ مِنْكُمْ وَمِمَّا تَعْبُدُونَ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ. We got nothing to do with you. We dissociate ourselves from you and whatever you worship beside Allah. كَفَرْنَا بِكُمْ. We have disbelieved in what you have believed. كَفَرْنَا of what we have disbelieved in what you are basically following. وَبَدَى بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةُ وَالْبَغْضَاءُ أَبَدًا. And now enmity and hatred is going to be between us forever. حَتَّى تُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَحْدَهُ. Until you believe in Allah alone, then we will be loving you. إِلَّا قَوْلَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ لِأَبِيهِ. Now there is an exception here. What Ibrahim had said and called upon Allah regarding his father, when he said, لَأَسْتَغْفِرَنَّ لَكَ. I will seek forgiveness for you. وَمَا أَمْلِكُ لَكَ مِنَ اللَّهِ شَيْئًا. But I don't have anything to help you regarding Allah's punishment if you stayed as a kafir. So this is Ibrahim alayhi salam saying, "Oh Lord, forgive for my father." But when Ibrahim found out that his father is a kafir, تبرأ منه. He dissociates himself with him, from him, as we're going to see inshallah. So this is why the wala and the bara is very important. Now, there is something here before I go ahead. What is the difference between al-muwala and at-tawalli? It's two words here. Some scholars, they said there is no difference. But actually, if you dig deeper, there is a difference. Al-muwala is divided into two categories. Tawalli, which is major kufr, will take the person outside the fold Islam. And the other one, which is muwala. And that is, so muwala is two categories, tawalli and muwala. And the muwala is a sin, haram, but it's not kufr. What is a tawalli? If you define the tawalli, is as follows, which is coming from the verse, وَمَن يَتَوَلَّهُم مِّنكُمْ. He who does make tawalli from them, فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ. He's from them. وَمَن يَتَوَلَّهُم مِّنكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ. He's from them. So this tawalli is the love of the shirk in the heart, the love of the shirk, or the love of the people of the shirk. I mean the love of the shirk or the love of the kufr, and the love in the heart of the people, okay, or the love of the people who are disbelievers, their shirk. So, or the love of both, or the love for the people of the shirk to gain victory over the believers because you love the shirk. So basically, if you love the shirk, or you love the people of the shirk, or you love for the mushrikeen, the kuffar, to win over the Muslims because of the shirk, because of the deen, because you're intending so that the shirk will prevail and the Islam will demolish, then this is called tawalli, And that's kufr akbar, major kufr, and this will be apostasy if the Muslim had done it. Second category is the same as the main branch, which is the main, you could say, title, which is al-muwala. Al-muwala itself, which is you love the mushrik for the dunya wise. That's the definition. You love the mushrik for the sake of the dunya. This is haram. This is a sin, but it's not a kufr. In the same verse that we have just mentioned now, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا عدوي وعدوكم أولياء تلقون إليهم بالمودة. O you who believe, do not take my enemy and your enemy as أولياء. هي موالاة, not تولي. تلقون إليهم بالمودة. That is, you give them some love and affection. تلقون إليهم بالمودة. You give them مودة. وقد كفروا بما قد جاءكم من الحق. So you're giving them mawadda, love. If we look at the story of Hatib ibn Abi Balta'a, when the Prophet ﷺ wanted to repossess Mecca, he called upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep his mission as secret as possible, so nobody can know what he's doing. This is the element of surprise, which will gain an upper hand in war. So he had gathered 10,000. Now, to gather 10,000, it's not very easy to keep the news, not to be spreading. 10,000 is a lot from the army. And not only that, he did not go towards Mecca straight away to the south. He went first to the north and then turned with the army towards Mecca, so that the people who saw them, they will not know where they are. The hypocrites, if they see them, they don't know where they're heading. There's a person called Hatib ibn Abi Balta'a, one of the companions. He wrote a letter to the mushrikeen, warning them about the Prophet ﷺ is coming. Now that is in itself treason. The penalty for that in any religion is death, because you're exposing the people, your own people, to danger. You are basically unraveling the whole plan, which is supposed to be kept secret, and telling it to the army, to the enemies, in order for them to get ready. That's treason, betrayal. So Allah's message was told by revelation. So he sent Ali ibn Abi Talib and other companions and Miqdad in order to intercept a woman whom she had the letter hidden in her, tucked in her hair, underneath her waist belt. And it's in the meadow of Khakh, the meadow of Khakh. So they went to the Khakh and they intercepted that woman and they asked her and they threatened her because she said, I don't have a letter. She said, either you give us a letter or we'll strip you out of your clothes. So she gave them the letter. They took the letter to the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet Allah, he summoned Hatib and the companions along with him, Umar there. The Prophet ﷺ, as soon as it's been read to him, هذا من حاطب بن أبي بلتع, this is from Hatib to the eminent people of Quraysh. Muhammad is about to attack you. So the Prophet ﷺ, did not straight away go that this is kufr until he want to know what his intention. So he said, ما حملك على هذا? What made you to say this? What made you to do this, to write this? So if he had said, for example, oh, because I want the mushrikeen to win, he's a kafir, he will be killed. He said, I want the kuffar to win. Okay. So it's going to be major kufr. This is apostasy. But if he said something else, then the judgment and the rule will be accordingly. If it's to do with the love of the dunya, okay, maybe he will judge him by putting him in prison or something like this. So what was his answer? He said, Messenger of Allah, لا تعجل علي. Do not take a hasty decision on me. For verily, those who are around you from the companions, they have people there from their relatives who would protect their families. So their families, they are a big tribe. So in case they found out about your plan, nobody would touch their families because they will not touch their money, they will not touch their family because they've been protected. They've got their own relatives still there. But I don't have anybody to protect me. And I know, O Messenger of Allah, that Allah will give you the victory. But with this letter, I wanted to have some sort of a deal. When I give them this, and I know that you're going to win, they will now honor me. So that if they find out about you coming, they will not touch my family, because they will keep that as a favor. So the Prophet ﷺ, he told Umar al-Khattab, he said, Messenger of Allah, let me cut off his head. And he deserves to do that. It deserved to be done to him. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ya Umar, leave him. Maybe Allah looked at the hearts of the people who had participated in the battle of Badr, and he said, go and do whatever you like, for verily I have forgiven you. So we understand from the story that what Hatib has done is wrong. Because the Prophet did not, for example, he was right. He could have just said, okay, guys, take the letter back and send it to Quraysh. It's wrong. And the Prophet forgave him because of he participated in the Battle of Badr. But he's wrong. But he did not say he's a kafir. Because if he's a kafir, then that statement will not work here. When he said, Allah looked at the hearts of the people who participated in the Battle of Badr, and he said, go ahead and do whatever you like from the Kufr Akbar? No, from anything but the Kufr Akbar. So your mistake, this one, is being forgiven. But if it's major Kufr, it's not an open check for those people who participated in the Battle of Badr to do whatever they like. They make a Kufr and Kuffar and Allah will forgive them. No. And now, by the way, this is the story which made those Takfiri people who came to the Prophet, to Sheikh al-Albani, along with them, our Sheikh Basim al-Jawabra. The story is going to talk about it, inshallah, later on in one of his sessions in the 2 months coming, bi-idhnillah. He will talk about it, and that is the reason why those people had left their takfir, because of this story of Hatib ibn Abi Balta'a. طيب. Why it is haram upon the Muslim to have love to the kuffar? Why? Number one, because they disbelieved in La ilaha illallah. They disbelieved in La ilaha illallah. And for us, the balance and the way that we weigh things is the one who believes in La ilaha illallah, he becomes our brother in Islam. And the one who believes in La ilaha illallah, we dissociate ourselves from him, because this nothing to do with him, because he's a kafir. إنهم كانوا, Allah says, إذا قيل لهم لا إله إلا الله يستكبرون. If it is said to them, say La ilaha illallah, they will be arrogance. Because the kuffar, secondly, they always spend their money on hindering from the path of Allah, to stop the people from embracing Islam. Also, on the third point, the kuffar, they don't love the believers. The kuffar, they don't love them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about them. Allah, he said, Ha antum ulai tuhibbunahum wa la yuhibbunakum. Those are the ones who you love from the kuffar, they don't love you. وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِكِتَابِ كُلِّهِ. And you also believe in the whole of the book. وَإِذَا لَقُوكُمْ قَالُوا آمَنَّا. And they met you, they say, well, we believe. وَإِذَا خَلَوْا عَضُّوا عَلَيْكُمْ الْأَنَامِلَ مِنَ الْغَيْرِ. That is, if they go on their own, عَضُّوا عَلَيْكُمُ الْأَنَامِلَ مِنَ الْغَيْرِ. They will, they hate, out of hatred. قُلْ مُوتُوا بِغَيْرِكُمْ. Allah said, die out of your rage. إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلِيمٌ بِذَاتِ الصُّدُورِ. Allah knows what is inside and being inside in the chest. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, قَدْ بَدَتِ الْبَغْضَاءُ مِنْ أَفْوَاهِهِمْ. The hatred had came out of their mouth. وَمَا تُخْفِي صُدُورُهُمْ أَكْبَرُ. But yet what their hearts and what their chests conceal is even worse than that. قَدْ بَيَّنَّا لَكُمُ الْآيَاتِ. We have showed you the signs and the verses, in كُنْتُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ, that if you are having common sense, if you pay heed. Also, because the kuffar, day and night, they're wishing for us to become kuffar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said that in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَدَّ كَثِيرٌ مِنْ الْكِتَابِ لَا يَرُدُّونَكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ إِيمَانِكُمْ كُفَّارًا حَسَدًا مِنْ عِنْدِ أَنفُسِهِمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الْحَقُّ. Lots of people from the people of the book, they would love for you to go back from your iman to kufr, to return back onto your heel. Why? Because they are out of envy to you. They envy you for that iman, after truth was being shown to them. So they always wish for you day and night to become a kafir. So if the Muslim, he knows that the Walaa and the Baraa is from the things which are important for La ilaha illallah, from the Aqeedah, from the thing that we should die upon it, and he knows that the kuffar day and night, they are working very strongly and collectively and together to make us return back to the kufr, then the Muslim should never have any wala to those kuffar. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, la tattakhidhu aduwi wa aduwakum awliya. Should not be the Muslim as well. It is not right for the Muslim to imitate the kuffar in anything of their life. For example, the birthdays and the mawalid and all of that. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, Man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum. He who imitates people and emulates him, he's like them. Also, it is not permissible for the Muslim to live amidst the kuffar, unless there's a reason. For those who are at the moment migrating from the Muslim land to the non-Muslim land, and we tell them, fear Allah, and trying to get there even the nationality for no reason, because of, it's not really, for example, political asylum or something like this, it's because of the life. Be careful, akhi. أنا بريء من كل مسلم يقيم بين ظهرين المشركين. I got nothing to do with those Muslims who are living amongst the kuffar, and you know what sort of compromise you do when you live in such a land, and how much sacrificial you're going to do regarding your deen, because you have to compromise with those people who are non-Muslim. It is not also, if you have Walaa and Baraa from the kuffar, you're not supposed to be, as a Muslim, to take the kuffar as confidant. Confidant means the ones who are close to you, help us, the ones who are consultant for you. It's not permissible as well for the Muslim to seek forgiveness for the kuffar when they die, even if they're to be next of kin. ما كان للنبي والذين آمنوا يستغفروا المشركين ولو كانوا أولي القربى من بعد ما تبين لهم أنهم أصحاب الجحيم. Allah said, and it is not befitting Surah At-Tawbah, that is for the believer and those who are believers, the prophet and those who believe, to seek forgiveness of those mushrikeen, even to be next of kin, after it's been shown to them that they are from the dwellers of the hellfire. And the Prophet of Allah was doing that to the uncle of his, and he was told not to do that. It was not to do that. It is not for the Muslim to obey the kuffar regarding his deen and to step down from his principles. Now that's what happened to the Muslim these days, when they have obeyed the kuffar and they have dressed up like the kuffar and they took their houses like the kuffar and they made their wives looking like the kuffar. In everything, we have just, I would say, they took out ourselves away from this Islam totally. It is not fitting or correct for the Muslim to depend upon the kuffar, al-rukun, so they rely upon them. لا تركنوا إليهم. So al-wala' wal-bara' in the Islam is very important. If we do that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us mercy. Listen to the following verse, Surah Al-Fatih, the last verse, Muhammad Rasulullah والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تراهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزرع أخرج شطأه فآزره, to the end of the verses. Muhammad Rasulullah, Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and the ones with him, the believers, أشداء على الكفار, severe against their enemies from the kuffar, رحماء بينهم, merciful amongst themselves, تراهم ركعا, to the end of the verses. So this is what we should be, Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. And I need to finish very early, so I was going to talk about the awliya al-Rahman and awliya al-Shaytan, but I'll leave that inshallah for next ahad, bi'idhnillah. And jazakum Allahu khayra wa ahsan Allahu ilaykum. We'll take inshallah the questions from you, and I'll leave it for the co-host, and the priority goes to the people who are in Aylesbury, inshallah.
Okay, if anyone from Aylesbury, please raise your hands, inshallah. And any sisters that want to write their questions, you can write now. Barakallahu feek. Sheikh, I got one here. If you answer the questions of the grave correctly, can you still be punished in the grave?
If I answer the question correctly, do I still, if you answer them, strongly and properly without hesitation, okay, then you will have the trial will be only the questioning and also the dhamma, which is the squeezing of the grave, and after that you will be in good life. But don't you ever think because I'm a Muslim I'm able to answer them firmly. No. This person who does not pray, how can I say to him, to the angels who are going to ask them, hold on, I'm going to pray? Subhanallah. When they ask him, regardless of what time he's being buried, the sun is about to set, Maghrib going to come. So they're going to come and ask him, he said, let me pray. So the believer, he has so much confidence in telling the angels, I had to pray. You will pray. He said, no, I'm going to pray because you could see the sun is about to set. SubhanAllah. Because they are surrounded by your deeds and actions. If they want to come from the front, there's a salah, there's a zakah, there's a siyam, there is hajj. You're surrounded by your deeds. And when you're there asking, what's your Lord? My Lord is Allah, with confidence. You're going to say with confidence. Who's your prophet? What's your deen? And then after that, they would say, when you say, we know that you've been saying this. We know that you've been saying this. And that means, I mean, we always know that you've been saying this all the way, which is confirmation. And that's when you have the beauty after that, which is remember the act of yours will come as in good clothes and nice smell, nice looks, to the end of the hadith. Now.
Okay, Ubaid Muslim.
Ubaid Muslim always, yeah, Ubaid put Aylesbury to take priority. Because he didn't take priority Aylesbury, I think the brother figured it out.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam barakat.
Sheikh, what about you saying about the friends? We're living in the country of kuffar. It's not a Muslim country. And you do always mix with the kuffar, you know, working and all that.
Well done. This is called colleagues. You call them friends, but not the friends that we're talking about that, you know, associate yourself with them. You have to have, you know, Prophet ﷺ, look at this. He told us this, and at the same time, he was dealing with the Jews. He had eaten with the Jewish women in Khaybar. He had died with his shield pwned by a Jewish person. That means he was dealing with the Jews, because if he's been pwned, that means he was taking from him barley, and he was taking. So no problem. Okay, so basically, befriending is different. Friending is you are compromising. You go into his house and you're seeing haram and kufr, he's saying nothing. That's not allowed. If you go into his house and you saw kufr, disbelief. So for example, befriending that you compromise by sitting with him on a table where there is pork and he's saying nothing. But if he knows that, oh, he can't do this and all of that, no problem, he's your colleague. How are you going to pass your da'wah? How are you going to pass your deed to him? If you're going to say, I hate you, he's going to listen to you? He's not going to listen to you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, La yanhakumullahu. Allah said, does not forbid you from those who did not fight you in religion, did not expel you from their land, and tabarruhum wa tuqsitu ilayhim, to be good to them and to be just to them, did not drive you out of your land, did not fight you, did not prevent your provision. Why not? So how can you pass the da'wah of the deen by saying, Baraa? Like I have seen a brother, and he's supposed to be a head of a da'wah. But I saw in him the extreme. Because of the extreme, he went to the other extreme. Is a person who used to be the head of the Jemas. And when he was at that time, he had trainers, the Pakistani outfit, or like a military sort of gear, and a turban, proper turban there, black one. Okay, and with trainers of really big, like boots, big ones. He's like in an army. Okay, and I've seen him as well when he was driving the car. He was driving like this, and there was I don't know, something like maybe another car had done something wrong or whatever. So he was driving, he said, Kafir! And he drove into him. This is that right? So what does it mean? He's a kafir. I'm going to put him on the floor, and like our Sheikh Muhammad Musa Nasr, he said, put the kafir on the floor and urinate on top of him. Is that the Walaa and Baraa and Baraa? This is not Walaa and Baraa. This is Bala, not Walaa, Bala. Problem. This is crisis. Stupidness. So this person, when the Sheikh Al-Albani saw him, I was a translator at that time, and I wish that this being recorded, can't find it. It's with Abu Layla, and Abu Layla did not bring it out, subhanAllah. We were just 4 people, or 5. Sheikh Al-Albani, Sheikh Al-Halabi, this person, head of the Jemas, his friend, me, myself, and the recorder. No, maybe the recording was not there. That's why I lost it. I depended upon my recording machine and it did not work. Sheikh Al-Albani, he came to ask Sheikh Al-Albani things which are to do with the da'wah in England, because he hated the Jinnahs. We had the Jinnahs conference, 1992, 1993, 94. Sheikh Al-Halabi came with him to this country as well at that time. So he wanted to have some questions. So the Sheikh, before he asked any questions, he said to me, ask him why he's got this turban. And I remember his answers very well. And I remember the answer of the Sheikh to him. And I took a lesson from that. He said to him, well, for 3 reasons. Because I thought it's a sunnah. Secondly, because I want to distinguish myself from the kuffar. Thirdly, because Sheikh Ali, and he was pointing to Sheikh Ali, was next to the Sheikh. That he didn't say anything. He came to us in England and he saw it. He didn't say anything. Very well answered. Sheikh Al-Albani said, very well answered. I'm going to answer you from the last one. As for Sheikh Al-Halabi, he saw it and did not say anything. We're going to ask Sheikh Ali. Sheikh Ali. Sheikh said, I can't say anything. Sheikh, with your presence, he was shaking. You present, I can't say anything. You want to say, why didn't you say something? I don't know. So he went quiet, Sheikh Ali. Wallahi, that's how the shuyukh with Sheikh Al-Albani, they shake. So second one, which is to do with that it is to distinguish yourself from the kuffar. He said to him, and he pointed to me, and I had a scarf. He said, that scarf on Abu Suhaib, does it distinguishes you or from the kuffar or not? He looked at me, that head of Jannas, Abu Muntasir, he said, yes, of course it does. He said, well, I'm afraid that that turban is not distinguishing you from the kuffar, it's distinguishing you from your own Muslims. And it becomes libas shuhra, something that you want to step out of the brothers, inshallah, like an army, people. Third one, and then he talked about the sunnah of the imamah. After that, I remember, out of respect to the Sheikh, he took his hat and he did like this, his turban. Okay? But not sooner, he did something else and he went to an Ikhwani person and remember, and Allah Musta'an. But now, this is the result. Because he's gone to the extreme, he went to the other extreme now. So Ubaid, I would say to you, okay, doesn't mean that we should really not to talk to the disbelievers. No, we have to be nice to them. How they present our da'wah. But befriending is different. Befriending is that you friend, you have friends, don't you? I'm your friend. You talk to me, regardless of Shaykh, but I'm your friend. You love me in the sake of Allah. Whereas that one, you hate his kufr in the sake of Allah. But you love him to call him for da'wah in the sake of Allah. You have to call him for the sake of Allah. And you will know way to call in the sake of Allah and present Islam to him unless you are nice to him. Now, hopefully I have made you to understand that. Yeah, all right.
Abu Abdullah. Abu Abdullah from Elderly.
Sheikh, are we allowed to say Salamu Alaikum to Shi'i who insults companions?
Well done. Any person, whether he's Shi'i or any person who is from the non-Shia, kuffar, and he is presenting his enemy to the Islam, we should not be good to them. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I have to just respond to this, somebody is not done there. Now. I think the Adhan al-Maghrib is now. Right. What you said? Yeah. Allah said, وَلَا تُجَادِلُوا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّا بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْهُمْ. Surah Al-Ankabut. Do not argue with the people of the book, kuffar, except with good. إِلَّا, except for those who have done wrong. That means enemies. Insult you, plot against you. And if this Rafidah, openly, because not every Rafida does this. Some of them are just no general people, idiots or ignorance. If you said that, show them the enmity straight away. Now.
Okay, Jabir ibn Muhammad, تفضل. Also, Jabril.
Assalamu alaikum. I basically wanted to ask if someone holds the opinion that anyone that rules by other than law of Allah is a kafir, major kufr, does this person become a khariji? Would this person be a khawarij for holding that opinion?
You know your sound is not clear. I don't know what you're talking from. Say that again.
I said if anyone
What is it, the car? Hello, there's a noise. You're in a car, you are.
Yes, I'm on a bus.
That's the problem. But again.
Yes, basically, if anyone holds the opinion that anyone that rules by the other than the book of Allah is a kafir, has committed major kufr, does this person become a khariji for holding this opinion? And is there anyone from the Salaf that had any opinion?
We don't do that. We generalize. Any person who rules by other than the ways of Allah, by the rules of Allah, as Allah said, فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ. 3 verses. I could say, any person who rules by the other than laws of Allah, and he deems the laws of Allah to be equal to the laws of man-made, it's a kafir. So I don't know, if he generalizes, I can't say he's a khawarij, maybe he's ignorant. Tell him. But if he adopts that after knowledge, yes, he's from the khawarij. Now.
Okay.
Is there anyone from the Salaf that had the opinion that ruling by other than the book of Allah is major kufr?
Sheikh, the other by the way, judging by the rules or ruling by the laws of other than Allah, it's not like this general. Okay, the Salaf differentiate. There are 7 categories in that one. 7. 3 of them kuffar and 4 is not. So the one who rules by other than laws of Allah, either he makes the laws of Allah less, or he makes it equal, or he makes it, is not actually 4 makes it kafir and 3 doesn't make it kafir. So anyway, Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said, kufrun duna kufr, kufr which is less than kufr. And this is, by the way, you're asking a question, needs a class. We're going to talk about it inshallah in the Aqeedah. Now,
Sheikh, I have any questions because we've got one brother with his hand up.
yeah, do you have questions from the sisters?
There's one, but it's basically saying what level should a person read Sharh as-Sunnah from Imam Bukhari? Barbahari, afwan.
Sharh as-Sunnah Imam al-Barbahari, we don't advise any person to read it. No. We don't advise the people to read it is the one who have done enough, like Usul al-Sunnah Imam Ahmad. Sharh as-Sunnah al-Barbahari as-Sunnah, if you read it like this, you become so aggressive in the da'wah. So you have to, first of all, we can't make the jump to 4th year level, level 1, level 2. This book, I studied it a long time ago, and I had my scholars saying that you cannot teach this book straight away. You have to build them slowly for that book. Because unfortunately, when you make this person from nowhere read Usul al-Sunnah al-Barbahari, for him, everybody will become mubtada'. Hizbi dog, hizbi dog, hizbi dog. That's what happens. But if he understands slowly, then he will, Usul al-Sunnah al-Barbahari will become very good, inshallah. Right, let's go to last question, Abu Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam, tabarak.
I have an off-topic question.
Go ahead.
If someone has to pay, the zakah is due, can they give the zakah bit by bit, or do they have to give it all in one go when it's due?
When it is due, you have to wait one go, all of it. You have to get rid of it as soon as possible. You can't delay it. No, can't delay it.
Could you not spread it out between different people when you
Yeah, no problem. Spread it out, but you can't keep it. Spread as much as you want. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خيرا بارك الله فيكم. I have to go because I'm really got sort of a headache.